guys, welcome to our lesson today for your homework tonight. Again, I know it's kind of confusing with your lesson being your homework, but we got to get used to that. So I just wanted to point out real quick, this lesson is called U1L2. That means Unit 1, Lesson 2, just so you're aware. We've already talked about in Unit 1, Lesson 1, which I didn't really title it that way, but that's okay, a bunch of vocabulary that we need to get us going here. So you're going to start seeing that vocabulary over and over again. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about three concepts: the segment addition postulate, midpoint formula, and segment bisectors. Now, again, normally in a year, this would be spread out over a couple different days. These would be like individual days. But we're kind of condensing things to make it move a little faster. And again, how we're doing this is I'm doing some very basic introduction of these concepts with very basic problems. And then in class, we can do some more difficult problems while I'm there to help you. So I cannot express how important it is you keep doing these videos. I will try and keep them very short and just, again, purely introductory so that we can really attack what we need to in class. So let's go ahead, follow along, taking notes, and let's get started. Okay, so the first concept we are talking about is the segment addition postulate. A postulate is kind of like a theorem or a statement, if you just want to think about it like that. It's something that's true. And a lot of times postulates are stated this way, where it says, if this is true, then that is true. So that's what we have here. The segment addition postulate states, if C lies between A and B. That's how it starts off. So if this is a true thing, that point C lies between points A and B on a line. So a lot of times in geometry, we have to do this where we have a sentence or a couple details in words, and we have to be able to draw a picture from it in order to figure out what's going on. So C lies between A and B. What that means is A and B are my endpoints. If C is between A and B, then again, A and B have to be on the ends. Now again, C lies between. That just means anywhere in between. I'm going to go ahead and put C right here, but I could literally put it anywhere in between A and B. I am going to specify here that this does not mean C is in the middle. Between does not mean the middle. It really specifically has to say middle, which we're actually going to learn in a bit. Otherwise, it just means anywhere between. So if this is true, if C is in between A and B, then this is the segment addition postulate. AC plus CB equals AB. This should be pretty obvious. It should make sense. I'm going to go ahead and relabel this. And I'm going to put C in a different spot so that you guys understand C can be anywhere. So when it's referring to AC, it's referring to this chunk. We know that when I have 2 points together like that, AC, that means a line segment. So that segment AC plus CB, the next chunk, equals AB, which is all of this. That's pretty obvious, I would hope. If I've got two pencils here, this pencil stuck to the end with this pencil, if I measured this one and this one, I could add them together and it's the entire length. What? That should be pretty obvious. So I say the part plus the part equals the whole. Yeah, that's literally all this is saying. I know segment addition postulate sounds fancy, but that's all it is. Part plus the part equals the entire thing. Let's go ahead and apply this. So example 1, use the diagram to find AB. So we have to pay very close attention to what we want. I cannot emphasize enough. Every single time in this class, you have to say, what do they want? They want AB. So I'm going to label AB using a little bracket so I know that's what we want. Well, if I have this picture here, I know that this chunk, AC, plus this chunk, CB, equals my entire thing. That's segment addition postulate. And if we look, hey, I know what AC is and I know what CB is. So this actually is very easy. This 20 is referring to this piece right here, AC. This 5 refers to CB. That's how they label these pictures. You can assume if you see a number next to a segment, it goes from point to point. So 20 goes from A to C, 5 goes from C to B. So 20 from A to C plus 5 from C to B, what? The whole thing is 25. That should make a lot of sense, yes? So let's try it a little bit more difficult now. I want you to go ahead and try this next one. And normally I would pause the video to give you some time to work on it, but I need to grab my charging cable for my laptop. So go ahead and take a look at this. The entire thing is 35, and this chunk is 10. We want to find AC, which is that piece. Take a second and try that while I grab my laptop charger. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Hopefully you got a chance to kind of peel it apart and think it through. Now, this one again, just looking at it, we can kind of reason our way around this. We can go, okay, the entire thing is 35, just this chunk is 10. What's left over to make up the rest? I could write out a segment addition postulate for this. Ooh. This is the part plus the part equals the whole. And I can plug in what I know and solve for what I don't. We can do that. So I'm going to show you that, but hopefully you can see what the answer is. It should be pretty obvious. If not, that's a-okay though. So I'm looking for AC, right? AC is this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it because I don't know what it is. I do know CB. That's 10. And AB is the red. That's 35. So here's the situation. I need to know something plus 10 gives me 35. Hopefully you know the answer without even having to do any math, but we could also solve this equation and get that AC equals 25, and that should make sense. 25 plus 10 gives me 35. One thing I'm going to say about this is that you cannot base your answers off the picture. If you notice, we just solved this and found out that AC was 25 and this is 10. Based on the picture, that seems wrong because this is much longer than this piece. Doesn't matter. You cannot base it off the pictures. You have to base it off of the information given. They're telling us this is 10 and this is 35, so this has to be 25. There's no way around it. Okay, let's try one more kind of tricky one. So it says use the diagram to solve for x. So we're trying to solve for x. Our final answer should be x equals, right? So here's our segment addition postulate. The piece plus the piece equals the whole. If you keep saying that down to yourself, that's what this is. So that's my setup. That's literally what I need to do. This is how geometry works. We see a picture, given information about it, we write an equation to solve. That's why it was so important to go over those algebra skills. We look at a picture, we write an equation, we solve it. So we have piece plus piece equals my whole. What? There's my setup. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and let you practice solving that real quick so we can still get those algebra skills in. Okay, so here's what we got. I'm going to go ahead and add these together because those are like terms. And then I need to get my variable by itself, but what I have to move is the stuff furthest away from my x. This 4 is touching it. I don't want to move that 4 first. I need to go farther away and then work my way in. So I'm going to subtract this 4 first. 26, yes. So this one looks like it's going to come out to be a fraction because I'm going to be dividing by 4. And I'm going to go ahead and leave my answer like that because 26 is not divisible by 4. I could reduce this, but for the purpose of making this question easy, there you go. There's our answer. Piece plus the piece equals the whole. That's how you write your equation for this. Okay, we're going to go into the next topic here. This one's pretty simple because it's just a formula, but we do have a new word we have to talk about, midpoint. So here is our definition of a midpoint. It should be pretty obvious because you should know what mid is referring to and what point is referring to. What? The middle point between 2 points. Yes, that's what this means. So we have a formula specifically when we're talking about finding the midpoint on an XY graph, a coordinate grid. That's what this formula is for. So we could find the midpoint if we're not on a graph. That's actually what we're going to talk about next, kind of. But this is specifically if we're on a graph and we have 2 points. We have x1, y1, that's our first point, and x2, y2. There's our second point. We can find the middle, the midpoint between them with this formula. So go ahead and copy that down, and I'll talk a little bit about this. So the midpoint is our answer, and because it is a point, that means our answer is going to be a coordinate, right? It's a point on a graph. So whenever we have midpoint, you're going to have 2 numbers. Notice there's a comma right here. Yeah, not a plus sign. So that means my answer is number, comma, number, boom, that's our answer. Very common mistake here is to want to add these together. Ow, I just stabbed myself with my pen. Okay, going on. Okay, so this is our formula. Add the x's together, divide by 2. That should make sense because the middle is the halfway point, right? And dividing by 2 is half, right? Add the y's, divide by 2. So all you gotta do is apply this formula. We just have to be very careful with putting our numbers in the right spots. So example 1 says find the midpoint of AB. Now again, I can't just count because I can't count diagonally on a graph, right? I can't go, well, 1, 2, 3. You can't do that, yeah? So that's what this formula is for. So the first thing we need to do is to find, well, what is A? What's B? So A is negative, because I'm going left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 4, that's my X. And then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Positive because I went up. B we have positive because I'm going right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And positive because I'm going up 1. So here are my points. I'm going to add my x's together, divide by 2, add my y's together, divide by 2, and those are my answers. What I like to do is circle my x's and circle my y's so I know what has to go together. Otherwise, sometimes we can get numbers jumbled up. So my midpoint, my answer, I'm going to go ahead and drop this down. This is our formula. The x's added together, divided by 2, comma, not plus, we keep them separate. The y's added together, divided by 2. So here's my x's, I'm going to add them together. Here's my y's, I'm going to add them together. So we have negative 4 plus 5, be very mindful of your signs, comma, what do we have, 6 and 1? Yep, 6 plus 1. Whoop. Okay, so I solved these separately, and this is my answer. Again, our answer is a point on a graph. So this should be 1/2. That's the negative 4 plus 5 gives me 1 divided by 2. And 6 plus 1 divided by 2 gives me 7 over 2. And there's my answer. So that's it for midpoint. All you have to do is plug in the numbers. It spits out your answer. You're just going to be very careful with what numbers go where. So I'm going to give you a chance to try this again. I'm going to copy the formula down. You should as well. We're going to pause it, and you are going to try plugging it in correctly. What I recommend you do is rewrite the points over each other. I'm going to show you what I mean. -2, -3, and -4, 6. So there's my x's, there's my y's. Those have to go together. Go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, so let's look at this. Here's my x's. Those have to go together. Here's my y's. Those have to go together. So I have -2 plus a -4. I hope you did this right. -2 plus a -4. Hopefully you know that means the same thing as -2 minus 4. It's the exact same. But you can just plug it into your calculator, -2 plus a -4, and it'll give you the right thing. And then we have -3 plus 6. Okay, so all I gotta do is simplify the tops of both. -2 plus a -4. That means I'm going down 2 and then down 4 more. I am -6 in the whole over 2. And I have -3 plus 6. That means I was up 6 and then down 3. You could think about it like that. Or you could say down 3 and up 6. It's going to work the same way because it's going to bring us to a +3. So I would accept that because I'm nice, but because we know -6 over 2 is an actual number, I'm going to go ahead and write it. Our answer is -3 over 2. That is the midpoint in between those 2 points. All you got to do is pop into the formula.